Lori's Craft Classes and Lori's Crafty Creations on Facebook, and you can check them all out. There's a lot of different things on there, and if you see a piece on there that you'd like to learn, let me know and I can try and squeeze it in for December. November is already booked. So we're going to start. I'm going to switch cameras so that I have the hand camera here, and it takes me a moment. I apologize, and I tend to shut it off in between while I'm trying to find the toggle spot. Sorry guys. Use my little twist tie, and you'll want to put 2 rings on and twist them. Okay, so they're independent, and then you're going to string through 2 more. So 1 and 2, and these 2 are independent of each other as well, and then 2 more. So you have 2, 4, 6, and again independent of each other. Now this is the wording. Okay, it's 2, 4, 6. The top one you flip, you push, so you're going to flip and then squeeze. You're going to squeeze them up so like those 2, the next 2 fold down, and then you're going to scoop these 2 that pop up and close. So let me show you again. We have our 6 rings, and remember it's much easier on the small rings because they don't move as much. You're going to flip that one over that way, that one over that way, pulling these, pulling this next set up a little bit, squeeze the 2 that you flipped, okay, and spread those next 2 open and scoop, okay? So it's going to be like that, except flatter with the small rings, okay? And then you double this. So you put 1 on, oops, doesn't want to close, and then you put another 1 on, okay? And that's what it's going to look like basically. They're going to be flatter because ours don't, the small ones don't, aren't as big, but that's the movement. Now, do you want me to do it one more time?
From the start.
Okay. So from the start, it's just 2, 4, 6 rings. I'm not going to start right from there. But what you're doing, you're taking your top set of rings, you're flipping them 1 on either side of your center ones, and you're going to push these 2 with your thumb and your finger, okay, and as they come up, those second set will spread and you scoop right in here, the 2 that are coming up, okay? So let me show you on small rings. Let me get my set of 6. And these are 532 rings, 18 gauge, or 18 gauge 532, whatever way you want to say it. And sorry, my hands are going to be in the way a little bit just because I have to steady the tool. And okay, so I have 2 and 2. I'll put 2 more on and a twist tie just to hold everything. I'm going to take the twist tie off of here. So I think you'll see the squeeze better with the small rings. The big rings show you where it's supposed to go through, but they don't hold the shape that we need. So it's a little more difficult to see. And I'm not worrying too much about how well closed my rings are. I'm just gonna put them in place and we'll figure it out later. All right, so this is my number 6. I'm sorry, I can't read the post, but feel free to unmute and we can answer any questions you might have, if that was to me.
Hi, Lori. This is Carol.
Yeah.
The local craft shop only had the rings in metric sizes. So what's 532 in millimeters? Like what size?
There's a chart on my Facebook page,
okay,
that tells you all of that. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
have it handy. And I don't know them off the top of my head.
Okay, great.
Brian, are you on here today? Oh, Brian would know because he's doing the same thing.
532 is approximately 7 millimeters.
Thank you. See, I knew he would have the answer. All right, so I have my 246. I'm going to put my little thingy through here so that I just have a handle. It's really, that's all it's for. And now I'm going to put my tools down. Oh, first I want to open a ring. I'm going to put my tools down and I'm going to show you as best I can with these little rings and my hands being in camera range. Flip those two over, push them so that you're getting them between your thumb and finger, sort of push them up and slide those two apart. And you can see that sweet little spot. I'm going to use another piece of wire here. Let me just, so I'm trying to do this one-handed so I don't lose this. And I may switch to my other size rings. Now, when you have this squeezed down, you'll see these two are popping up. And if you go straight through there, oh, I can't get it. Okay, I'm gonna use my 1/4 inch. Let's just get them out. It doesn't flow as easily. Oops, that's the piece I was working on last week. It doesn't make the Byzantine as pretty, but you'll be able to see it better. Okay, so let me just quickly. I always struggle with the 532 on camera because they don't show up as easily, and it makes it difficult for me to show you. The big rings, the jumbo curtain rod ones, make it easier, but they can't do Byzantine. And I know 1/4 inch, I can do it, it just doesn't work as pretty. So I'm just gonna close 2, and then I'll close 4 and get my row of 6 going.
Could you hold it a little lower? I can't
Sure,
see.
I can actually switch my camera a little bit.
Also, I've never even used these plier things before. I don't even know how to hold them.
Oh goodness. Okay, so let me show you how to open and close a jump ring. That I can do quickly. All right, so when you get a jump ring, these are open, you'll see that there's just a little opening at one spot. I'm going to take these apart. So what you do is you have one pair of pliers, your dominant hand is horizontal, your non-dominant hand is vertical, the opening is at the top of your ring, and your dominant hand's the only one that moves, and it just sort of pivots. And listen to this. You'll hear it clicking if I'm getting close. Hear it click?
Mm-hmm.
That means they're rubbing against each other. Now, this one still has a little bit off, so you just sort of keep pivoting this. And I like...
You're too high.
I'm sorry?
You're too high.
Sorry, let me move that. I think I had it better the last time. There. So I'm just pivoting this, my right hand, my right wrist, clicking them together so I know they're right in place, and then I feel it. And if I can't feel any opening, that's perfect. Okay, so I have 4 here. I'm going to take my open 2, just making a chain of 6, 2, 4, 6. Now, when you're doing the 6, you can put all 4 closed rings on your open rings and then just split it up. But I don't want to confuse anyone. So again, I'm just clicking, feeling, and adjusting. That's all I'm doing. So I'm going to set it down, open this ring a little bit more, and then I want to just hold the one ring that I have all 4 on, slide the other one through those 4, and close it. Now this is only for the first set of 6, okay? You can't do this afterwards. And then just grab 2 and they fall 2, 4, 6. All right. So I'm going to put the twist tie on here and twist it. Now you could also add 1 ring and your lobster clasp. Doesn't matter. Let me open a couple of my larger rings here and have them ready. Okay. So now you'll be able to see the flip and scoop better. All right. So I have 2, 4, 6. I take the 2 at the top and flip them on either side of my fingers. And I'm just going to push them upward with my thumb and finger. Okay. These next set of 2 spread open, and you can see the 2 popping up. Grab an open ring and scoop. Oops. Trying to hold them still. It works much better with, oops, I lost it, with the small rings for the size, but to demonstrate, I think I'm going to have to use the bigger rings here. So I want them to push up, and then these 2 separate, and then I'm going to scoop the 2 that were the top rings. Darn it. Let me bring it closer to me. I have more control. Push up, separate those 2, and it's like any chainmail. It is harder to start than it is to finish. Once you get your first little bit done, okay, and then scoop those 2, and that's our flip. Whoops.
Sorry, Laurie, are you scooping
Okay,
the
so
first set of rings or the second set of rings?
okay, so I have 6.
Right.
This is my top set, middle set, bottom set. Top set flips over and over. You push it up. You slide the second set apart and scoop into the first set, which are now coming up. Okay. So it's very similar to what we did with the full Persian when we scooped up through there. And then once we have that, lost my piece, there it is. Okay, and then you double everything. Byzantine by 2. Okay, so let me demonstrate this one again with the rings. Okay, so we have 2, 4, 6. We take our top set and they flip on either side, exposing our second set. And then with our thumb and finger, we push our first set upward. The second set slides apart and allows us to scoop in there and grab our first set right there. All right. So let's get back to this. And I'm just going to grab my magnifier too.
If I could jump in for a second, I had kind of a senior moment there. 532 is 4 millimeter, not 7.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
I don't know why. I don't know what fraction I was thinking. Sorry.
No worry. Okay, now the only thing I will say about using millimeter is it's not generally the best quality of jump ring if you're using the millimeter size from the craft store. Try to get hyperlinks. Where are you located? Sorry, the woman that was asking about.
Sorry, I just went to Michael's.
Oh, okay. So you're not getting the really good jump rings. Really good jump rings, I would say, would be Hyperlinks or the Ring Lord. They don't have the exact measurements of the right rings at Michael's, so it's a little more difficult to get. You can order hyperlinks from Iguana Beads in Cambridge, That Bead Lady in Newmarket, or Bead Dynasty in Scarborough. Very easy to get, and they all ship. Okay, so.
If you're talking about 4 millimeters, that's pretty friggin' small.
Well, they are pretty small.
Yeah, it is.
And these are not even what we call micro. They,
Wow.
1/8 is smaller, and 1/8 isn't even micro. It would be sort of the beginning of micro. I've done a tiny bit of micro. Even with good eyes, it's hard. All right, so we have our 6 rings. We take, and I'm gonna look through my microscope, what do you call it? My words just left me.
Magnifier.
Thank you. All these new people and I'm losing words here. All right, so I'm gonna flip them over like so. Hope you can see that. I know the light in here is a little bit much. There, that's a little better. All right, and then I'm gonna squeeze those 2 up. And the next 2 will just sort of split to the sides. And you can see the first 2 coming up in the center. We reach in. Well, I always say use your pliers, not your hands. Let me just see if I can still scoop it with my pliers. There we go. And they just scoop, come in here and scoop those 2 pieces like so. And you close it. I'm going to put a second ring in there too and close it. And then we're going to do, this will be our first 2, and then 4 and 6. Okay. Did I get it in the right spot? Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh yeah, I did. Just because of the size of these rings, they flip wrong. And just trying to find my other big ring. Yeah, they don't hold the shape of Byzantine as well as the small ones do, but you'll get the idea and I'll be able to see them well enough to teach you. There we go. All right. So from this set that we scooped in, I probably won't have as much time to show you as many times as I said, because I've shown you a few times on the big rings, the jumbo size. Whoops, missed it. But once we have, if you hold it upside down, you can feel which ring is the newest. I'm just going to pull it to the side. I know it's not right because Byzantine, you wouldn't be able to move it to the side like that, but all right. So now if we hold it upside down, you can see the 2 together right here. And then we take 2 more sets of 2. So we're always working with sets of 6. So once we scoop, that's our first of our set of 6. I'm just trying to get these ones all apart. So we have our scoop set, and then we go another 1. And 1 more there. When you're trying to thread rings through and you're using your fingers are going to get in the way. And, you know, I tell everyone, like, you know, not to be rude, but we have fat fingers. Our tools are so much tinier than our fingers are. So use your tools to their advantage. Right, close that one. Perfect. So I have 2, 4. I'm adding my next set of 2. I need to grab out some more rings. I only grabbed out a few here. And then go through those 2. Close. So I will show you one more flip here, and then I'll show you on the big giant rings again. But it's a pretty simple weave. You go 2, 4, 6, flip, spread, scoop, 2, 4, 6, squeeze, spread, scoop. All right, so there's my 6 again. Now I'm going to flip. Oh, let me get more rings out first before I start flipping. I have my starting of my hand flower in here too, so I'm trying not to use it. And if anyone took the hand flower class last time, I saw Brian's, which is just stunning. He finished it off. Did you make any changes to it afterwards, Brian?
No, I didn't exactly. When you said to square off the last few rows, I wasn't exactly understanding, and because of your eyes, I wasn't going to bug you by email too much. So,
Oh, no problem. So we taught how to do a pyramid or triangular shape with it. But you can do it, instead of going through like this, you go straight above and above each ring, and that squares off that last little bit.
oh, okay.
Yeah, very simple explanation. All right, so we have our 6. We're going to take the top 2, flip them over, and we just work it so that we're squeezing it with our finger and thumb. The next set just sort of spreads apart for us if we squeeze properly, and these 2 pop up. I hope you can see that in my camera. I'm just sort of trying to angle everything towards you. And then we take one of the big ones that we just opened, get it in my pliers, and we go between these 2 that are spreading, okay, and scoop in there. Oops, I think I have this ring open far too wide, so it's doing a fishtail, fish hook. Grab those 2. Okay, so I scooped up the first set and close. And then I'm going to hold that spot, and it doesn't look the same because it's a different size ring. Oh, and I only got one of them. Let me try again. Okay, so I have my 2, 4, 6. I'm going to flip that over that way, that one over that way. Push them upwards. Slide these 2 apart. And scoop the 2 that are coming up from our pushing. They're not sliding as easily just because they're a different size. The problem with teaching chainmail online is that the rings are so small. So I have the better camera, but you're still not getting the proper look. Normally when I teach in person, I'm walking around the class, I'm showing you right up at you so you can see everything. Okay, so I have my 2 pushed up. Let me scoop them, got them. Okay. Close, feel it. Okay, so when you're closing jump rings, you don't want to be able to slip a fingernail through them. So when they're closed, you won't be able to slide a nail through. And you shouldn't feel anything on either side of the ring. So it has a teensy little jump right there, but I'm not even going to worry about that. So double that one up. So if you hold it and grab another one of the big ones and just slide it through the same spot and close it. The bigger the ring also, the easier it is to bend it out of shape. The smaller rings tend to keep their shape better than bigger ones. Actually, my husband found a big ring. I think it's like a 3/8, or not 3/8. Yeah, 3/8, almost half an inch. And he found it on the floor because we always find rings everywhere. And I was able to close it perfectly, clicking and everything with my fingers. So the bigger the ring, the harder it is. Okay, so we have our unit. Now it doesn't look like much here because the rings are big. So let me go. I should have brought out a few samples of Byzantine, but you've seen it online on the page. So we're gonna go back to the big rings and I'm gonna show you again. So I have my 6 rings. The top ones, flip one side and the other, exposing the second set. And then you're pushing with your thumb and finger, that first set upward, you're sliding those two out and you're scooping your first set. And you do that twice. This one's getting worn out. I think it's not even closing properly anymore. Go through here and close. All right, there's your first little bit of Byzantine. Now this counts as your first set of two. So 2. I'm just going to do 2, 4, 6. I don't have any more rings. And then, of course, you're going to start with your flip. Either side, squish up. The second set slides to either side, and you scoop the first set. Okay? So let's try it again with these guys. And I'll just start all over. Actually, should I just take these apart? I don't know which would take longer. Let's just start over. Okay, so I'm going to close 6 rings. Make a chain of 6 rings. Okay. This one might be too bent out of shape. If you get one that just doesn't feel like it's closing properly, just throw it out. You know, you're paying so little per ring. And if it's going to be a pain and not close and catch on things, then you don't really want it. I think this one's salvageable. No, okay. So when I decide that a ring is garbage, I just sort of fish hook it, so I know afterwards, oh, that one's garbage. And I'm not throwing it back in my bin and doing that 5 or 6 times before I throw it out. Okay. Remember, any questions during the class, just let me know. We can chat. I know there's a lot of people, but I still like the chatting part. Okay, so again, you have your non-dominant hand vertical, your dominant hand horizontal, and you're just rocking this like a motorcycle handle, okay? You can't slide anything in between, and you can't feel it on either side. Okay, so that's number 1. They generally are linked together when you get them in the bag, just because that's the way the machine lets them fall. So don't worry, you'll just open and separate them a little bit. There's 2. Now Monday's class is rings. So I will show you how to make a few different styles of fashion rings. The rose one, a stone, and then a freestyle. So that is a fun class. I always like teaching it. The 2 variants that are coming up of Byzantine, I will have to let you know if I'm able to do it, because they have to be the small rings. So we'll play it by ear right now, but I will give you more notice than I gave you for the other one. I apologize for Monday's class. That ring feels smaller. Let me just check it. Every once in a while in a bag of rings, you get one that's smaller, and sometimes you can actually feel the difference just because you've used so many rings of that size. And, you know, between all of the ring sizes, 532 is my favorite, and then the next one would be my 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to join that up. Let me try again. Oh, I got tangled with my, okay. This just needs to go through all 4 of those at the bottom. Oh, one more. Last one doesn't want to go on the ring. There we go. Okay, and then I have my 2, 4, 6. I'm going to grab my piece of twist tie. Now I buy my twist tie in like this bulk thing, which I moved out of the way here. And I just get it at the dollar store, and it's fantastic. It's for gardening, for tying up plants, but it has its own little handle of how to, that you can cut with. and it's only a couple of bucks, and it's right there. Let me grab it. Oops. Okay, so this is it. You pull it down, and I've been using this for years in classes, and it's never running out, it seems. And then you lay it down, and you just push on this little thing, and it snaps off your piece of twist tie. So it's very handy to have. I just take it everywhere with me when I'm teaching, that is. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 of my rings and put my twist tie on. Okay, just through there. And again, this is just so that you have a little handle. Okay. Now I'm going to open up a couple more rings so I have them open and ready to go. I don't normally pre-prep my rings. I just find picking them up once is easier and quicker than messing with it a dozen times. Okay, so I have my 6, and now I'm doing my flip. Oh, let me put my tools down so you can see my hands better. All right, so I'm flipping the first set over, 1 on either side, and I'm going to squeeze them upward between my thumb and finger. The second set will now spread apart. Start to anyways, okay? And you'll see the first set popping up. All right, so we're going to scoop those 2, that first set. Let me just use 1 pair of pliers. I think I can do it with my left hand easily enough. I may have to switch hands here. Yep. Yeah, lefty doesn't work as well. All right, so let me do that over. You flip, 1 on either side, and then you squeeze them upward with your thumb and finger. The second set down will then spread apart. And if you drop your ring, you have to start that whole thing over again.
It's too small, it's not going in.
It does if it's the 532, because that's the one that I work exclusively with pretty much. Just keep practicing. It is hard. Like I'm showing on the big rings, which make it seem very easy to scoop. They aren't easy to scoop. You have to get in there. And if you have an awl or a little piece of hard wire, thick wire, you can sort of push it through and grab the spot so that you know where to put it. You can't have the awl and the ring going through at the same time, but you can sort of pull the awl out or the wire out as you're scooping so that it just catches in the same spot. Okay, so we want to double that one. And of course, with these big rings, Jaga, you're seeing so much space here. That's because they don't work for Byzantine. They only work for demonstrating Byzantine. Like I can't make a whole bracelet with this size ring in Byzantine. It would just be floppy and wouldn't show. Excuse me. Okay, so if I flip it over, you can sort of see the V's forming. Again, it's not the best ring to show Byzantine how it looks, but it is the best ring to show how to do it. So there's a difference there in how to do it. All right, so I have 1 ring through. I'm going to add another ring. Through the same spot. Now, when you're doing it with the small rings, the 532s, you're not going to be able to just scoop it through as easily. You have to concentrate and you have to get it in the same spot. But once you have the first one through, you just sort of pull it up a little bit, like so, like tug it upward, and it frees up the spot for the next ring, okay? All right, so we have our first 2 of our 6 now. Our next 6. And once we have the next 6 in and we flip and scoop, that is 1 unit of Byzantine. So we have are 2, 4, 6, fold, split, scoop. The scoop are 2, then it's 4 and 6. We flip, we scoop with 2. That is the unit. Okay, so when we talk about a unit of Byzantine, that's it. So it has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 rings in a unit. And depending on the size of the rings, I'd say the 532s, it's probably about an inch. So if you're looking at a 6-inch bracelet, you want to multiply that by 6. So that's just how we figure out the rings per inch. Let me get this ring out here. I'm trying to get together a group of photos from a few different places to have on my Facebook page that show you the different size rings you can use for the different weaves. The ring lord has already told me I can use theirs as long as I say that they're the ring lords, of course. So I'm putting that together. And then there's another company that I'm just waiting to hear back from. And I think I'll nudge him a little today or tomorrow. And that one, he has probably about 10 of them. So it will show, let's say Byzantine, and it'll show from like a 12 gauge, which is really, really thick, right up to a 19, about a 22 gauge, I guess. 22 would be micro. I work in 20 gauge sometimes, but I don't like it very much. All right, so there's the set we scooped. There's number 2 set and number 3 set. So I'm going to open my next 2 rings so I have them handy. And once I flip these and scoop and close 2 rings on, that's my unit. All right, so they flip to the sides. You push them up. And these next 2 will spread to the sides. And you'll be able to scoop in there and grab those 2. Okay, see how it pulls it all together? Okay, I'm gonna put these 2 closed. Now, if we're doing the Byzantine lace Byzantine or lacy Byzantine, we need a bunch of these units. So these units are what we put together. So when I'm doing that class, I will teach how to do the Byzantine quickly again, just to refresh. But, okay, I will want as many of those little units as possible. Okay, I'm just trying to slide this finished piece through here. All right, so this is a unit. It's harder to see on here, but you can see your flip. And so these 2, the end ones, are your scoops. And then if you turn it, you'll see the 2 scoops in the center. Okay, and then the wings. I like to call them wings. Okay, so I'm sorry, I can't see the comment. If you want to just unmute, we can chat. Okay, and I'm just moving stuff away from me here.
Hi, Lori.
Hi.
Hi, on your Facebook page, you show that graph in the 532, but that shows up as 4 millimeters, which is a lot smaller than what you're working with. So,
oh, these are 1/4 inch.
Yeah, but even the other one that you're working to make your nice bracelet with,
yeah,
is smaller. So it's not 4 millimeters. So I'm not sure what you're working with.
It probably is about a 4 millimeter. It's the internal size that they measure.
My 4 millimeter look a whole lot smaller than yours. So
okay, so that's what I mean. Like, you can't really go by just the craft store ones. That's the hard part. These are designed exclusively for chainmail. This hyperlinks. She's one of the 2 manufacturers in Canada that I know of really well. There is a third, but he's out west and he's more of a specialty guy. If you need a ring size and a certain like off size, he'll make them for you. But he's pretty pricey.
So it's hyperlinks, you called this one that you order these through?
Yeah, with 2 Y's. So HYPERLYNKS.
Okay, I'll give that a try. Thank you.
Yeah. And you can order them only through stores. So what area of the province or country are you in?
I'm in Alberta.
Okay, so check on their website. They'll tell you where to find them.
Okay, I'll do that then. Thank you.
Yeah, but there are Toronto stores that will ship to you, no problem.
All right, thanks.
I have
Unfortunately,
discovered,
can't get.
Sorry?
a lot of the places I've found that their rings are being sold in millimeters. They're giving you the outside diameter.
Oh, it really
Right now, I'm working with a 10 by 2 millimeter ring here, and the actual inside diameter is 7 millimeters, or 6 millimeters rather.
Okay.
But they list it as a 10 millimeter on the bag. So that's where,
Yeah, and then you get into AWS, ASW, American
Wire Size, and there's
AWS, yes.
yeah.
And then your Imperial? No, S. Something else, wire size. I don't even bother with it. It's a lot of math to figure out. And there are charts that you can just look and see exactly what you need. I figure if there's a chart that is really reliable, I'd rather use it than a calculator and figure it all out, because it is all about the ratio, the amount of space in between the ring, inside the ring, the thickness of the wire. There's a whole lot of variables, but Hyperlinks lists it all on their bag so that you don't even have to worry about it. This is, let me just see. Okay, let's see if I can get this in focus. It's kind of old, so, but you can see here, it's backwards too, sorry. This is by Hyperlinks, and it shows the millimeter, the gauge, everything, all along that line. So if I really wanted to know what the millimeter is, I could look on the 1/4 inch and find it in there. When I order from the Ring Lord, this is what I get, and it's just a barcode, and it basically tells me anodized aluminum, 18 gauge, 1/4 inch. And then whatever that was probably the color code for that batch. So, you know, you have to know how the company measures your rings, how they sell them, how they measure them. With Ring Lord, it's so strange. Up to, I think, an 18 gauge wire, they do AWS. After an 18 gauge wire, like thinner, they change to SWG. Yeah. So they switch when they're doing it. So up until a certain gauge of wire, it's measured one way. After a certain gauge wire, it's measured a different way. So you really, really have to know what you need. And I'm telling you, the Ring Lord has a Facebook page, and you go on there and you say, I'm trying to make this weave, and I need it this big in these rings. Which do I order? And somebody will answer you. Like, it's a great community. There's also a Facebook page called Chain Mail. And I'm telling you, those people are all over the world, and they developed chainmail weaving. Like, they develop weaves that are brand new weaves that nobody has done before. They're very knowledgeable, and they're very helpful. We call it the hive. So, all right, I'm gonna go over the scoop part one more time with my big rings. Let me just take them apart again. I like magician rings at this point. I don't even know what's what. All right. Now, is anyone having a hard time with the terminology I'm using with the scooping and everything? I tried to sort of like minimalize my words this time. Did it help from last time? Okay. All right, so I have my 6 rings. Okay, this is set number 1. We flip. Okay, bring it down the sides of set number 2, and they'll sort of lay like so. Push them upwards, and you'll get those second set just to spring apart a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna try and hold it in place like it would look. You scoop these two in the center. Close. And you can see it just sort of forms a little, this is somewhat what it forms, these little wings, okay? So I would call this piece, okay, let's get it on this angle. These two, one on either side, the wings. They sort of fly out to the side. The other way, they're just going straight down. They're nothing. But these are your wings, and they sort of hug. When it's in Byzantine properly, they hug those two that you scooped, the two that you're scooping with. Okay, so we have the two in here that scooped up those rings, and these wings just sort of hug it. So you don't see much of these two rings except in profile. Okay, so once we have that, then we do two. These are our first two, second two, third two, flip, squeeze, separate, scoop, and then 2, 4, 6. And we just keep going. That's the whole thing of Byzantine. Okay, it's a very simple weave once we get going on it. This is the 1 unit, and I know it's sloppy because it's the larger size, but you get to get the idea that when we have our unit on either side here, let me get my piece of wire again and thread it through here. Oops. These big rings, they keep separating on me. Just trying to grab the center two here. There we go. Center two, please. It does help to talk to the rings, I find, you know. My Google machine seems to think my cat's name is Google every once in a while. It's Gizmo. And so she'll answer the weirdest questions. Okay, so we have our 2 sets on either side. And if you turn, you see your 3rd set in the center. Okay, so if you're using color, the end sets will be the color, that center one will be the color, and then as you turn your bracelet, you're seeing the color popping every unit. So this unit, you'll see the color there, and when you turn it, you'll see the colors on either side because they're your next units. Okay, and what is our time, guys?
I've got just about 10 to 3.
Ah, perfect. Okay, so any questions? Let me switch my camera here, if I can.
Oh, he's hungry.
Oh, perfect, first time.
Oh, looking at you.
Come on, please. There we go. Okay, any questions? Let's see if I can answer them verbally without. No? And it
The
doesn't even
necklace
have.
the necklace you have on, is that something you make?
This is a quick make. I just grabbed a cute charm from the store, from the bead
Okay.
store. Yeah, I love this one. And it's light enough, I could actually make big earrings too.
Yes.
Now, with this style, you can buy epoxy and fill in the holes and make a really beautiful, unique piece. So I can't teach epoxy online, unfortunately, but when we're together again, I've been buying sets of resin molds. So we can do a good resin class when we're back together again.
Do you recommend opening all these little rings before you start?
When I'm working, I don't, unless it's a really intricate weave. There's one weave, and I think I have my sample out here, I'm not sure. There's 2 of them. It's called half Persian 3-in-1 and half Persian 4-in-1. They break my brain, okay? I can do it once it's started. I cannot start it. I feel like I need a third hand. So for that one, you have to add a closed ring. So yeah, I go and I close a bunch. When it's opening, no, I have my pliers in my hands like the whole time I'm working usually.
Yeah.
And so I just pick it up, open it, close it. Some people like to have their rings all prepped. I'm not one of those. I think I go faster when I'm just picking it up once. So whatever works for you works the best.
Nothing. None of this is working for me yet.
You'll get it. You'll get it. Watch the video, and I'll try to add a little video to my Facebook page too. But look on the Facebook page, you'll see all the samples of all my Byzantine, and it clicks more when you see the bigger piece in the small rings, but the small rings were not working on camera.
Maybe if you did the split rings in different colors as you go, so like your first one's in blue, and then you can actually get a visual rather than a whole bunch of silver running together.
We have done that for other classes, and it works for some, it doesn't work for other people.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
and a lot of people don't have a lot of different colors of rings, so then they're confused.
Okay.
When I'm
I just
saying-
thought for you
Yeah.
showing us, because it's like you're saying go in the first one. Well, to me it all looks shiny, but
Okay, so let's
Okay.
see. Let me just try that. I have different colors here. So let me just quickly get a piece of Byzantine here with the big rings. So it's not going to be perfect, but okay, so that's scooped. I'm going to take out the two that I scooped, and we'll finish them with blue. So you'll be able to see it better. And I'll hold it up. I won't bother trying to switch back cameras. Just let me get it prepped. I'll take out these two rings. Okay. Oh, maybe I do have to switch cameras. Sorry. Give me a moment. Oh, and it just switched perfectly. Okay. So I have the pretty blue ones here. So I have my 246. Did I take out the right ones? Oh, I still have to take one now. When you're finished and you're good at closing rings, you'll have a hard time finding the opening. And generally, if you have to take a ring out, that's the one you close perfectly. Always happens. All right, so I'm just going to put one more here. And it's the one I just dropped. There it is. Whoops. Yeah, it never fails. When I have to take one out, it's always one that's perfectly closed. All right. Now I'm just going to add 2 blue on here. I'm not going to fuss about whether it's in the right order or not. I have 2, 4, and I'm going to add 2 blue on here. And then I hope you can see the difference when I do the flip. That's the wrong way. Darn it. Like I said, always hold it upside down because then your rings fall properly. Let me put one more silver in here. Okay. So there's my 2. And so I'm going to have my 2 blue as my middle set of 2. So you'll see them sort of shoved to the side as we're going.
Oh, good.
So don't pay any attention to the bottom piece of this chainmail because I just sort of added the rings at the end. So it's not even in the right order before that. But the 3 that I'm working with, the 6 rings, are the right ones. So I'm going to put 2 silver on after the blue. and I will scoop with my blue just to show you. Actually, the blue make it easier for me to see them too. Oh, come on. It's a little finicky. Okay, so now I'm going to open my two blues so I have them ready. One and two. I love this color blue. I can't remember what they call it at the Ring Lord. I think it's midnight blue. I don't know, but it's just such a pretty deep blue. So I want to flip these, the first set open, and I'm going to push them up with my thumb and finger, okay, on either side. The second set, the blue set, will slide to the sides, and I'm going to use this blue one to scoop up. Oh, did that do it? That was the aha moment?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm scooping those two from the center of those, all right? And then I close it and I add a second one to the same spot. Now, when you're in a tighter weave, like with the 532s, tug on that one and it gets everything shifted around so that your next ring goes through easier. This is just so easy on this weave because they're not the right size. I'm just going to slide it in here and whoops, close it. All right, so these two, I'm going to put my pliers on them instead of my hand. Oops, flip it upside down, they'll always fall right. Okay, those two are the first two of my next 6. Okay.
Oh.
That makes
Now-
more sense.
Okay.
Hey.
Thank you. So next time I teach it, I'll teach it with colors. If it makes more sense, maybe I'll do both. Because I know some people don't like it with colors. I had people say they can't visualize it because they don't have colors to use. So we'll do it both ways next time. Let me switch cameras. All right, so Monday, whoops. Monday we have rings and they are so much fun to make. And my camera's not toggling. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you get it, it's like boom, and like I make chains of it, big long chains, because I'll get an order for a matching necklace and bracelet. One day I had an order for 3 18-inch necklaces and 3 bracelets. So I kept making it, and then I measured it out to sections and unattached it so that I had all the sections. But I just kept it going for about a week. I was just weaving at doctor's office, on the subway, wherever I was.
That's actually a pretty easy weave compared to that full Persian.
It is.
Once you've done the full Persian, this one's simple.
Yeah, this one's easier than full Persian, but we started with full Persian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't normally teach full Persian. I hadn't taught it online, but these rings make it so much easier. And I can show you guys better what to do. Yeah, the next two are just Byzantine variants. So as long as my eyes hold up, we'll do them. But we have to use the small rings for the next class. So
I still didn't get the replay on that Persian one yet either. Yeah, so I still, those first few I did, I still haven't got them. Anyway, I just wanted to say, I think you do wonderful online teaching. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Have a wonderful weekend.